Hey, how's it going, my friends? Sal DiGuardia, and this week on Rebuilding Me, we're going to wrap up our interview with Ryan Huard, good friend of mine from right here in Phoenix, Arizona. And so sit back. Don't forget, in the bottom right-hand corner is the subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe, but then also flip your phone for me. Hit the bell. Make sure you get notified so that when we do upload a new video, you get a notification of it rather than just subscribing. So subscribing's cool. Bell is even better. Hope you enjoy it. The other thing we have in common that I'm so interested in, not because I like the style of music that you play, but I'm just interested from a, like a fellow, and I don't even call myself a musician really for the most part because I'm just a hack, but we both kind of share love of music and
Yes.
passion. Did that also start early on? Was that like a childhood thing or more?
I've loved music all my life.
Yeah.
I've always tried to emulate the voices that I've heard.
Right. Like who? Who was your favorites? Like Eddie Vedder? Were you like the Pearl Jam lead singer in your car?
When I first started doing karaoke,
Yeah.
back early 90s, yes, I was Vedder to it.
Were you really?
I could emulate his voice to a T.
Because listening to your voice, I'm like, that's the only thing that makes sense is,
Yeah,
Eddie Vedder
I
songs.
did a lot of him, and I did a lot of Scott Stapp with Creed.
Yeah, man.
Because their voices were easy for me.
You want to give us some? No consonants, just all vowels.
Right? Yeah, pretty much. You can get away with it that way.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, that's where I started because it fit well in my wheelhouse, and it allowed me to be able to modify my voice.
Yeah.
And that's where I needed to start to be able to, move forward with what I'm doing now. So
It's interesting. So do you think for you, because for me it was a little bit, I was trying to emulate people, almost as like a mask, like trying to kind of exude their persona because
Right.
I didn't feel like I ever had anything like original.
it started that way, and then I met Rodney, and
Now, who's Rodney?
Rodney is my guitar player.
Here in Arizona?
Yes, the one who writes all the lyrics.
Right.
He writes the music, and I put the lyrics to the music.
For the band
Yes.
named.
Stoned Soup.
Nice. So when did the transition, how did you get here? How did that happen?
How did I get to Arizona?
Arizona is where here is.
Okay, no
Yeah.
problem. It was 97, 98, and I was married with a daughter. And
I'm sorry.
No.
No, not for the daughter part, for the
Yeah, well, it happens.
for the was married part.
It happens.
Yeah.
But I just got tired of the winters.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle the winters anymore. And with a daughter, I didn't want to risk the winters anymore. So my wife and I had made a decision to move to Arizona. It turns out my parents beat us out here by a year,
Oh, no kidding.
and her parents beat us out here by about a month and a half. So, I mean, everybody was here, and it was the perfect time to do it.
Our family is all from New York.
Right.
Parents were born in New York, grandparents born in New York, great-grandparents came over from Italy and Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, that's a heck of a mix. If you
That's
don't.
a drinking family
Oh
right
my
there.
gosh. Dude, you have no idea. Well, you probably do know. But yeah, my godfather came to Arizona in like 71 or 73 or 74, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom and dad took my sister and I out here to Arizona to Tucson to visit him. It was just going to be for like a week or 2 weeks or something, and we never went back. My dad, no joke, my dad sent my mom on the plane home with my sister. Said, "Sell everything, we're staying here." That was it.
Wow.
And he was like entrenched, man. I mean, he grew up in Brooklyn on the streets,
Right,
like
right.
no education. He like failed junior high, I think. He didn't even fail high school.
Right.
Like they wouldn't let him into
Oh, wow.
high school. But yeah, so he grew up like working since he was 9, at fish stores and as a butcher and blah, blah, blah. But he finally got with a family that had a chain of delis that he helped them open up.
Right.
And then after a bunch of years, he just decided he wanted to do it for himself. So when we came out to Arizona, he actually found a location.
Nice.
I don't know how this all happened in like a week.
Hey, you know.
But that's right. That's how the universe works. Like,
intention is a strong thing.
oh my gosh, man. And same thing. Like he was sick of living back east too. It's cold.
Yeah.
It is what it is, man. It
Yeah.
sucks. Walking around in it, driving in it. So how old are you now at this point when you come here to Arizona?
27.
And your daughter was how old?
My daughter was 2.
And so you're trying to figure out with a 2-year-old, A, how to get to Arizona, and then what the hell do you do when you get here, dude? Like, what did you have any of that figured out? Or was it just kind of on faith?
I had some ideas because I was, like I said, I was with Perkins at the time.
Right.
And I knew there were still a couple left out here when we got here.
Right.
So that's where I went right out of the gate. I'm like, I have the experience with them.
So that worked.
So, yeah, I mean, it worked well. And then, that worked out for a little while, and I had to find something different, and I went from there to construction, which was difficult in the summertime in Arizona.
Yeah, no joke, man.
But,
that's why you guys start at like 5 in the morning. So that it's not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, in the wintertime, it's amazing. I love it in the wintertime, but summertime, not so much.
How did you ever do anything like that before, like construction? Or
no, I hadn't done anything like
that.
You
just decided one day, you just woke up and said,
I was doing residential sprinkler systems and alarm systems.
Okay.
That's what I did. And
there you
was crazy. I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
I will not say it was not fun, but at the same time, I wasn't necessarily cut out for it.
Right.
And then I bounced back and forth from restaurants to a little more construction here. I do have an electrical apprenticeship for a little while.
Right.
And, I mean, I didn't really have anything I considered enormously stable.
Right.
And that kind of bothered me. But in the same respect, I had to do what I had to do to support my family.
Of course. Got to eat.
Yeah.
Got to pay rent.
Yeah. And my son was born in 90. So, yeah, I mean, now I have 2 kids.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, what in the hell do I do now? Working 2 jobs and this, that, and the other. And then, try to go to school, and that didn't work out.
That's fine.
So
you have $250,000 less debt. That's the good news.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Wow.
So
Kinda.
So,
I tried going to DeVry, let's put it that way.
Oh, no. Oh, Ryan, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Nothing again. We're not
no
endorsing
bagging.
nor,
No bagging.
Yeah.
It's just the simple facts.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. So what did you want to do? Why did you go to DeVry? What were you
I originally had gone to DeVry for their electronics and computer technology program.
Okay.
And from there, I transferred into their web management program, or technical management is what they called it, with an emphasis on web development.
Right.
And things happened, and my financial aid got cut off, and that was that.
Is what it is.
Yeah,
and then it was over.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So you're working, 2 kids, trying to figure it out, going to school. School doesn't work out. Still just kind of bouncing back and forth with work, just trying to figure out construction.
Yeah, and at this,
tables,
at this
kind of
time,
thing.
while I was going to school, was when we got divorced.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And, yeah, that was not a fun experience.
Of course.
By any stretch of the imagination. And I ended up... I'm man enough to admit it now, but back then I would have never admitted it.
Admitted what?
I let the divorce basically completely destroy me.
Right.
My relationship, even currently, 15 years later, is strained with my children because of it. Because I just fell off the planet. I understand.
That's my story, your story, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to have, this conversation with you to kind of talk through that a little bit, because I don't know that we ever went that deep.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the guys watching too, that's the whole point of Rebuilding Me, is that this stuff is not easy.
No.
Right? And it's become such the norm that so what? We have a 60% divorce rate. It is what it is. Like, it's just expected now, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of folks, they walk down the aisle kind of knowing in the back of their mind, like, maybe
how long this one will last.
maybe her, like, as they're walking down the aisle, right? Trying to plan the next one.
Yeah.
Because you just expect it. But the truth is, once you get in that spot, man, it just sucks.
Yeah.
It just sucks balls.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So,
yeah.
So how do you navigate that, man? Like, what the hell? So you didn't have contact with your kids?
No.
Right? For a long time?
A long time. Contact is still very sparse.
Right.
So, I mean, I've tried. I've, put myself out there, and, I will invariably, in their eyes, do something wrong again. And it just,
of course.
it is what it is. I just hope one day that, things will be open enough to have that communication.
Right.
And at this point, that's all I really care about.
Right.
I don't care about anything else. I just want to be able to talk to them. My daughter is 20. God, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Uh-huh. I'm with you.
She's going to be 24.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. That's freaking crazy. Absolutely crazy. And my son will be 19 this year.
Wow.
So, yeah. I mean, I talk to my son every now and again. It's my daughter that really just doesn't want to have anything to do with me. And that's fine. I understand. I get it. I get it. Doesn't make it any easier.
Of course not.
But I get it. So, it is what it is.
I've tried to make sense of the whole thing in my situation, same deal. I mean, we had actually some time. In fact, right after you and I were working together and I left the restaurant, doors started opening. Like, all of a sudden, things started kind of falling into place. It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. I was very thankful
because
there was a period. There was probably 4 years there that everything was kind of cruising. Like, we had visitation and we had a pretty good relationship, and we had time together. So then it just kind of cut off, right? And it's a multitude of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I own the piece that I own.
Mm-hmm.
Did you how difficult? Because this is the part that we all struggle with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is who are we going to blame? That's first, right? First is, who are you going to blame? And then if you can't get out of that spot, you'll never move on. Like, it is what you're just going to stay stuck in, like, blaming you for the rest of my life, and nothing's my fault, and I take no ownership, right? So how do you get through all that and kind of regroup and say, all right, what am I doing next? Like,
right.
What were those days like when you had to get up and wife's gone, kids are gone, school's gone.
Why am I doing this?
What the hell am I doing? Yeah.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time in a pretty dark place, a pretty deep depression where I really just didn't care. I didn't care what happened to me. I didn't care about much of anything.
Right.
And I can't really cite something that made it click and turn around. It was just a gradual progression to, why am I keeping myself stuck down in this spot for no apparent reason other than you think you deserve it? And,
you thought you deserved everything that happened.
Yeah, I mean,
Gotcha.
I took,
And you deserve to be miserable.
I took full blame. I took full responsibility for what had happened. I mean, there's no sense in blaming anybody. It really isn't anybody's fault. You know what happened. I owned what my part in it.
Mine is. Ask my ex-wife; she'll tell you it's still my fault.
Oh, of course,
No,
and
I'm
I'm sure my
Yes,
ex will still probably say it's all my fault.
right.
You know, because she hasn't gone beyond that point, and that's fine. That's all her. You know, but that's not me. I'm not that guy
No,
anymore.
you're not. Yeah.
You know, I've gotten to the point in my life where, you know, this is who I am. I don't pull any punches.
Right.
I'm not going to sugarcoat you. You know, I'm going to give it to you straight. I'm going to give it to you raw. And if you don't like it, that's not my problem.
Is that part of what helped pull you out of that space?
Yes, it really is.
Did you look to anybody in that time? Because this is what I didn't do. I didn't actually seek out like counseling or doctors or any of that stuff. I just kept grinding it out, right? Trying to make something different happen. Insanity really is what I was doing.
Yeah.
Just getting on the wheel every morning, getting up, doing the same thing over again, which to a certain degree, I will say, actually, that's my number one tip is if you're going through that moment, like life just sucks, right? Everything just falls apart. Focus at least on one thing. If you don't have the resources and you can't get to people that can help you move forward and work through it, at the very least, start with one thing. And typically it's work.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really promote, being workaholics, but actually I do, because the point is, if you can at least get to work every day, get there on time, do a good job, be a good employee, at least you'll eat.
Yes.
Like that's right. That's number one. Like at least you're going to eat. You're going to hopefully have enough money to put together a roof over your head, right? And take care of some basic needs. So that really is number one. But in your case, when you were going through that dark time and you started kind of realizing, okay, something's got to change, did you reach out to anybody, or did you just kind of start working on things yourself and intuitively just kind of figure out how to
I did a lot of self-reflection. I really didn't seek anybody out because in my head, it was my job to take care of it. It was my life. I needed to do this on my own.
Right.
I did have help.
Like financial, or like more the talking through it? And
No.
Trying to figure out the next step.
Yeah. I mean, the only financial help I may have gotten was from my dad. Bless him. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Thank you.
Yeah.
But the first piece of the puzzle that actually started to help me out was a book called The Four Agreements.
Oh, love it. Thank you for saying it. I think we may have touched on it before, but
that book, I swear, will change your life if you let it. Yeah.
There's actually, in fact, there is the exercise in there, the sky exercise. You close your eyes and do the thing. So there's a little woo-woo, but listen, here's the deal. I don't care how macho you are, or how big your muscles are, or how many tattoos you have, or whatever, or how long your beard is, or how cool your hat is. None of that matters. If you read through the Four Agreements, stop at the part where Don Miguel Ruiz says, close your eyes and do this activity with me. I want you to do this. What was your experience like when you opened your eyes? Did you do it outside during the day?
I did, and it was amazing.
Did you see this difference in the color of the blue?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The sky, literally, you will see the sky in a blue that you've never seen it before. Just reading through and there's only 100 pages?
Yeah, something like that. It's not that long at all. But yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's a life-changing book.
Love that book.
Go get Four Agreements. You know what? We'll actually link it in the comments below, and you can go get it. Unbelievable. How did you find that book in the middle of all that?
A friend of mine.
Dude, I didn't find it until the last few years.
A roommate, actually. Roommate / ex-girlfriend. This was back in, when was it? It was 06, I think, is when I found the book originally. She had it, and she let me read it, and it was just incredible.
It's cool.
The light bulb just kind of clicked, and I'm like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And, it's not something. It's not something that you can read and say, okay, I've got all the information, let's go. You know what I mean? It's something you actually have to work at. You know, you need to be able to put in the effort to get it where you want it. But it gives you all the information you need, and it gives you all the tools you could possibly want.
To start laying the foundation.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
And so that book, there's a couple others, but I think that book is one of the instrumental pieces of the puzzle.
That was the one book that started me.
Dude, what are the chances? I mean, I guess the chances are good because you got it, but
right.
So you get through 4 agreements. It gives you a whole different perspective. What did you do to move forward? Now, what you wake up the next day and you go, all right, now what do I do? What's the next step in my journey? So what did you really want to do at that point? Did you even know yet?
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I had a better mindset. My head was a little clearer. I could think a little easier. But I still wasn't at that place where, yeah, this is what I want to do. You know, this is who I want to be. That took a while. It really did. Girlfriends here and there. A trip around the country.
Yeah?
Yeah, I ran away. I ran away with the Renaissance Fair for a while.
Stop it.
No, I'm dead serious.
You're a part of Ren Fair?
Yeah, loved it.
So is the one that, like, whatever one is in Arizona and the next one's in Texas, like, that's the same fair? It's the same Renaissance Fair? Or kind of?
It's a lot of the same people. The thing is with the Ren Fair, it's a circuit. You run circuits.
Right.
There's an East Coast circuit. There's a West Coast circuit. There's a Midwest circuit. And a lot of people jump around from fair to fair.
That's cool.
I started at the Arizona Ren Fair back in 2010. And I didn't have a job other than the Ren Fair at the time.
Wait, after we met?
Yeah.
I didn't know this happened.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe I did. Maybe you did say you were going to be at the Ren Fair, but I thought you were just like going to the Ren Fair.
No.
I thought you were just going to go and eat a turkey leg and just be done.
No.
What did you do?
I actually worked in the photo booth, in one of the photo booths.
No kidding.
Yeah.
They give you a shtick, they give you a script and the whole thing, or you just wing it. You just do it.
Yeah, you wing it. Yeah. You have to find your own character.
Yeah.
And
what was yours like? What was your delivery?
Nothing.
I'm walking by. Stop me for a photo.
Oh, for crying out loud.
I'm walking by.
No.
Hey, this is a great Ren Fair. Look at this turkey leg I'm eating. How do you get me in the photo booth? How does it happen? I gotta know.
Really?
What was your character's name?
I wasn't.
What was your name? Scotty McScotterson?
No, I used Black Wolf. That's one of the names I've used for
Black
years.
Wolf?
Yeah.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, I've used that name for years.
That's a very cool Renaissance name.
That's my pirate name, actually.
What would mine be?
I have no idea. You'd have to
give me a Ren name.
Dude, really?
I want a Ren.
Give you a Ren name.
I want a Ren name.
I didn't see any way of getting out of where I was.
Yeah.
And I knew I had to get to Colorado.
Why Colorado?
I had to get to the mountains.
Okay.
The mountains were calling me. So I approached my boss at the Ren Fair and asked her, do you work the Colorado Fair? How would I get there? How would I do this? How would this happen? And she offered to take me with her for the next 2 shows. So I went with her from Arizona to Georgia. Spent 8 weeks in Georgia.
How was that?
Wet.
I've been there
Very
for like
wet.
5 minutes at the Atlanta
airport. I was just outside of Atlanta. Was where the Ren Fair site is. And I mean, it was a blast. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was in a 2-person dome tent, living like a hippie, getting rained on like a freaking.
How do you guys get down there? First of all, I mean, so the next fair was in Georgia. So you went from Arizona to Georgia. It wasn't like you stopped along the way.
No,
it literally was one trip over to Georgia. So how does everyone get to Georgia from Arizona?
You drive.
Yeah, but how?
What do you mean how?
Everybody just piles up in a station wagon, or what does it look like?
Well, I mean, her and I drove together. Because she.
I'm imagining what my point is. I guess I'm imagining there's not like custom tour buses.
Oh no
taking you to the Ren Fair in Georgia.
No.
No.
You have
This
your
is
own
just-
stuff.
You're in the back of a
If you're a vendor, you trailer your stuff and you run it down there.
and you're in the back of a Pinto or Buick Regal or whatever.
Whatever you got. Yep.
Whatever you got.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yep.
Man.
But yeah, from there I went to Georgia, and from Georgia I went to Colorado.
Yeah.
And I loved Colorado so much, I just stayed.
That's a long way to Colorado.
Yeah. But it
just-
was so worth it.
You
It
could
was
just go up
so worth
or
it.
that way.
Right. No, it was. I
good.
loved it.
How long were you in Colorado?
Total time, just under a year.
Okay. So not long
Not horribly long, but it was long enough.
for you to find out the mountains were cold.
Well, and the cold wasn't even. The cold didn't even bother me.
Really?
Coming from Minnesota, the cold in Colorado was nothing.
Totally different.
Nothing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I loved Colorado. I lived in the Springs for a while.
Cool.
I lived up in northern Colorado for a while with a friend. Yeah, I loved it. Loved every single second of it. And then from there, I had met a woman online, and we hit it off pretty good. She lived in Reno.
Okay.
And I was coming back down to Arizona for a visit, and she ended up buying me a bus ticket from Phoenix to Reno.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, to Vegas.
Wait, so you go... All right, let me get this straight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's as crazy as it sounds.
So you go...
It's as crazy as it sounds.
So you go from Arizona, traveling Ren Fair. So you were a carny, by the way. So I get to call you a carny.
You can call me whatever you like. I'm a Rennie, but
To
not a...
Georgia, to Colorado, back down to Arizona. She buys you a bus ticket to go back up to Reno. And you could have gone like... Right there.
Yeah, but it's a 20...
like right there.
It was... The thing is, from Colorado, where I was...
Yeah.
To get straight to Reno on a bus, number one was a 24-hour trip.
Is it really?
Yeah.
No
because
kidding.
you're going up
Oh,
over
that's
the
true.
mountains.
Yeah, and through Utah. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. That makes sense.
So she just did it from Phoenix to Vegas. She drove down from Reno and picked me up in Vegas.
Oh, cool.
We spent the night in Vegas and then drove up.
Nice.
So, yeah, and then I spent about a year in Reno.
How was that?
It was fun.
Yeah.
Because I got to do... She was a big Ren Fair person herself.
Oh, yeah?
So we got to do a lot of the West Coast Ren Fairs, which was fun. You know, the Lake Tahoe, Valhalla Ren Fair. Yeah, and then from there, well, like I said, we did the Valhalla Ren Fair, which is in Tahoe, and then we did the NorCal Pirate Festival.
Tahoe's beautiful.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh, dude. We went for a few days over a long weekend. It's just absolutely gorgeous up there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I loved it. Loved every second of it. I mean, I love to travel.
Yeah.
That's me, you know?
You always have kind of had that little, like almost like a gypsy kind of a flair to you. Like,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
good. Like, with just packing
Packing
just
up and
pack
going, dude.
Yeah, just go.
Yep.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.
See ya. What light bill?
Yeah, right.
So how do you get back here? Like, how does coming back to Arizona play out? And this, oh, I'm sorry. So the relationship, did that continue or?
It continued for about a year.
Yeah.
And then it had run its course. And I came back down here.
Nice.
And got back in 2012.
And I left.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think there was like a month period where we could have gotten together,
Literally
and then you
like
had
a
gone,
month, and then
I'm
I
like,
left.
damn it.
Yeah. So then I went to Ohio, of all places, and then it was like -18 and -40 2 winters in a row, and I came running back to Arizona.
Yep.
Yep, I can't do the cold either. I'm done. So you get back. Now what do you do? So you messed around with food, you messed around with construction, you messed around with kind of Ren Fair and doing that whole thing. So is it more, from a passion perspective, is it more like maybe some of the creative stuff is starting to drive you a little bit? And how did you kind of work through that and try to make something happen?
While I was in Reno, just before I came down, I ran across a book. Another book plug. Books by Linda Howe.
Okay.
And it's called Reading the Akashic Records.
Okay. Never heard of it.
The Akashic Records are the sole record of your entire existence.
Okay.
Okay. And if you can access these records, you have a wonderful opportunity to better your life, because it can answer questions, past lives. It can answer questions, recent past. It can answer whatever you really need it to. So I found this book and did a couple of the exercises. And that is kind of what steered me to go back to school for massage therapy.
Oh, cool.
So,
how does massage therapy come out of all that? Because that doesn't sound like anything that has to do with anything that you've done before.
That I've done before? No.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
What do you think drew you to it?
I like being able to help people. I'm a healer by nature.
Yeah.
So it just kind of fit for me. And that's really kind of where I went with it.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
So now you're a massage therapist.
I am.
Fantastic. I don't want a massage from you. Just so that we're clear. I'm just kidding. Amanda does, though. So my wife, Amanda, actually said that, she said you did a very good job. I think one time, 2 times that we used you. But, so cool. So now, massage therapy, you're in a relationship, a long-standing relationship now.
It's been 5 years
with
now.
A lovely young lady. How did that come about?
Met her in a bar.
Perfect.
Yeah. At Bailey's, of all places.
Bailey's, the karaoke bar.
Yes.
On a karaoke night?
Yeah.
Was she singing?
Of course. She wasn't, no.
Oh.
She was a designated driver for a roommate of hers. And I walk in, I had just been back in town maybe 2 weeks at that point. And I was, singing, and she was sitting at the table I normally sit at. And there was like nobody in the place. And I'm like, really? You got to sit at my table?
Perfect. I mean, you couldn't have planned it any better, though.
Well, true, but it's not. I mean, I didn't necessarily see her and automatically know. You know what I mean? I saw her sitting there with her roommate. And not necessarily looking for a relationship, or no, I wasn't looking for Jack. I wasn't looking for
totally
anything.
Finally, just kind of cruising.
Yeah, I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna do me.
Yeah,
and whatever happens, happens.
Right.
And
grow your beard.
Well, yes, you got to grow the beard. You got to grow the beard. But I heard her talking to her roommate in a very English, old world accent. And she, for some reason, couldn't really bring herself out of it that easily.
Yeah.
So I turn around and I'm like, you know how to get yourself out of that, don't you? And she's like, huh? I said, that accent, you know how to get yourself out of it, don't you? She's like, no. I said, the beer is in the pickup truck.
Just do it down south,
and
like down home southern accent.
Snap you right out of the
Because she does have, I've met her before, the couple times that we've gone out and done karaoke and stuff. If she does start doing it, she can't. I don't know what it is. She can't come out. She cannot snap out of that accent.
No. I mean,
it's fantastic.
If she could, she'd live in that accent. It's not I mean, it doesn't bother me any, because I'd be right there with her. But
and her name is
Corinne.
Corinne,
yes.
And you guys have been together how long now?
We've been together for just over 5 years now.
Nice. Yeah. Congrats, man. Wow.
Yeah.
That went by quick.
Yeah.
That went by really quick.
Actually, no, I take that back. It's been 6 years now.
We'll go back and edit. And then she'll never know that you messed up the first time. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Crazy.
So now what? So now you're a massage therapist. How did you kind of fold music back in? Because you mess around with music.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't even say mess around. You guys do work really hard at trying to put put material together. So how do you fold that back into everything and try to balance it all?
It's difficult. It is. But I dedicate myself 1 day a week to the studio.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for a few hours, because in a few hours, Rodney and I can nail out a song. Or at least the beginnings of a song.
Right.
So.
Protected time.
Mm-hmm.
Corinne knows.
Yeah,
like that's
exactly.
your protected time, and she's good with it.
Yeah.
And that actually, so another pro tip. So that when I worked on my record, I sat down with Amanda and we had to figure out what did that schedule look like, because I knew I needed, the whole project for me was going to take 90 days.
Right.
And I knew I needed to carve out time. In the first 30 days, I had to do nothing but just write, because I had zero material at the time, which is awesome when you're writing your first record at 40 years old,
and
trying to figure
nothing.
out. You have zero. Zero.
Not easy.
The second 30 days was going to be all just kind of producing up the demo tracks and getting ready to, get everything recorded and all that. And then the last 30 days was really, final vocals, mix everything down, and then, and then distribute it. So we did. We had that conversation. We sat down. I said, look, here's my goal. Here's what I want to do. We also, so there's crazy equipment around here now, like not crazy expensive, but we've definitely spent a couple bucks on room treatment and stuff like that. This was not the case back then. I don't know. Did you ever see the house when I first recorded?
No.
So some of this was here, but not nearly everything. So I didn't even have a decent computer. I had a old Dell laptop that had an i3 processor that barely ran.
Right.
And I had a $100 interface, and this mic I did buy. So I did spend a couple $100 on the mic, but that was it. The rest was all $50 speakers and, the cheapest headphones I could find.
Yep.
And just went to town, man. Just started going to work. And, but that was important. We sat down and she did ask me on the front end, what do you need? If this is really what you want to do, what else do you need to get it done, to get the project done? Because if you say 90 days and it's past the 90-day mark, I'm going to get a little frustrated with you if you're going to spend all this time, focusing on the music and not on her. So
right.
I totally understood. But so we did pick up a couple things, and then along the way, right towards the end, I was like, all right, I think we got to bite the bullet. This computer is going to die. And it just wasn't working. And even to a certain degree, the sound interface that I was using, it was a $100 interface. It just wasn't able to handle multiple tracks at good audio quality. So so we spent a few bucks there. So it was always stuff that we needed along the way. We didn't go out and spend all this money on a home studio. Right. And again, I was honest with her up front and said, okay, this is what I think I need. But daily, I went through, I don't know if you did this too, but I went through and scheduled literally those blocks of times like you talked about once a week. I had it on the schedule every night.
Right.
It was on my calendar. It popped up on hers. This way she knew too, this is my carved out time to work on music. And she would sit near me, we would be close to each other. Right? And it's not the close to each other and not even in the same room. It wasn't we were purposefully ignoring each other, but close enough that we're still around each other and we could still kind of interact.
Yeah.
But she kind of knew that's my time to really just kind of focus on lyrics and play. And every once in a while she'd be like, how's it going?
Right.
What you doing? But it worked. Maybe that's the key, is that's probably one of the most important pieces of figuring out the relationship piece, oddly enough, was working on my own thing. And it wasn't because I needed to work on my own thing. It was really, it forced me into a situation where we had to talk about it.
Yeah.
Now we got to talk about what does this look like?
Exactly.
And how does this going to affect our time? So that was interesting. And it's interesting to hear you say it too. So she's good. She knows.
Oh, yeah.
That's your day. You're going to the studio.
Yep.
Can she come? Can she hang out with you
Yeah.
guys?
Oh, yeah.
So
she's always
spends time with you.
invited.
Cool. Does she ever come?
On occasion.
Yeah.
I mean, not often,
Not
because
every
she
week.
wants us to be able to, do it without interruption.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's cool. It works out well.
Amanda too. She wants nothing to do with any of this. She has no interest whatsoever. Even afterwards, when I'm like, "Hey, come here, come check this out," she's like, "Okay," from the other room, and she still just does whatever she wants.
Right.
And then finally, when she does come in, she'll be like playing a Facebook game or something. She's like, it's really neat, and then walks out the door. Good job, baby. Right? Pats me on the head.
Right.
And then walks out.
You're a good boy.
It's funny. Cool, man. So, and now just cruising, just loving life.
Yeah.
What do you think are the three most priority-wise? What's the most important in your life right now?
My family. And then my career, I guess. I mean, yeah, the career is important. It's good to have money. But in the same respect, if you have no friends or family to be able to use it with and for, what's the point?
Right.
So
Right.
that's kind of where I'm at right now. I mean, I'm just loving what I'm doing.
Yeah, man.
Gotta be who you are. Because if, everyone else is taken, you can't be somebody else. You gotta be yourself.
I can't be Justin Timberlake.
You could try, but I'm not sure
man.
it would work out that well.
Nobody wants me to be Justin Timberlake, I've discovered. Dude, thank you so much, man.
Oh, no problem.
We're not done yet, but seriously, thank you for having this conversation with me and for being a part of it, sharing your journey. I think this is the part that I think is important, right? For if we can get a couple of us together to kind of just start talking through some things. And man, if you would have heard somebody having this conversation 15, 20 years ago, how different, right, things may have been. Mm-hmm. And it's not that we're regretful in any way. Like,
No,
I'm totally good with where I'm at right now.
Yep.
Are there some things that I wish went way differently? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Absolutely.
Like, abso-fucking-lutely.
Mm-hmm.
There are definitely some things that I wish, not I wish I could do over again, but had I known. Like, had I known and I could have made some different
Things
decisions.
would have been done differently.
Totally different story.
Yeah.
So I think, the sitting down and actually having this conversation, kind of talking through it, and it's not back in my day. It's not like we're not trying to do that, right? Like how hard we had it, but
Right.
just the idea of, okay, once you get to that point, and maybe this is a good question, right, to end with. When you get to that point where just shit's sideways, and you're trying to figure out how to navigate it, what do you think are like the one or even two things that you did or that you would give advice to somebody else to say, this is what you got to do to get through it? Start putting some things back together.
Okay. I tell a lot of people in my inner circle these two statements. And they all know me for them, but they all hate me for them at the same time. Because they're very cliche statements.
Are they?
But they ring true. The first one is rub some dirt on it, get back in the game.
Okay.
Okay? You fall down, pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and get the hell back out there.
Yeah.
There's no sense in cowering into a little bowl and just going away because something went wrong. Something's always going to go wrong. That's the way life is. Something will always go wrong.
Right.
Nothing is perfect. Nothing ever will be perfect.
Shocker. Surprise.
Yeah, And the second one is, if you want to be happy, be happy. I mean, yeah, it sounds dumb as hell, but it's the truth. As long as you can put a smile on your face, your attitude will change. It's that simple.
Right.
So that's what I tell people. It's like, you know what? I understand you have it bad. I empathize. I've been in bad situations myself. But you cannot let it consume you, because if you do, then it's game over.
Right.
And no one wants that.
No
one wants that.
Again, there's a couple different ways that can go, right, when you hit those downtimes. And I know for me, it was a lot of kind of maybe drudging through it and then just kind of spiraling back down and just drudging through it and spiraling back down. I mean, to the degree that
and I think you know this, I think others have heard the stories of like SWAT teams showing up at the house, right? Couch surfing, with 4 guys living in an apartment and getting 2 hours of sleep a night and just not having a place to live. And
couch tour. Coming to a couch near you.
Couch tour 2019. We'll sell you the whole seat.
Right.
And you can continue to just spiral and just kind of do that and just run it into the ground like you would an old beater. Or at some point you can, and you think is it a conscious decision to pick yourself back up and just kind of move forward? And is it not just picking yourself back up and dusting it off, but do you think there's a certain degree of, okay, now I got to figure out what is the purpose, what's the point, and start focusing on something going forward, right?
Yes, I mean you need to have that. And I don't want to say end goal because it's not necessarily an end goal.
It's not like,
but
okay,
you
well,
need to have that next
bank.
step.
Yeah.
As long as you can make that next step towards what you want, you're good.
Yeah.
Because then you can make the step after that, and then the step after that, and
Right.
just keep going.
Right.
You only start to falter if you stop moving. You got to keep moving. You got to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Backwards is not an option.
Agreed.
Looking through the past is not an option. It doesn't serve a purpose.
I was going to ask you, what's the one book that you would recommend, but you already recommended 2. So thank you for that. Do you want to throw just a quick reminder, the 2 books that really were monumental in your journey?
Yes. The 4 Agreements by Miguel Ruiz.
Don Miguel
Ruiz. And Linda Howe's Reading the Akashic Records. Both fantastic books. Both can change your life if you let them.
Absolutely. What do you want to leave everybody with? Closing thoughts? Anything that we missed that you want to address that maybe I didn't ask about? Because we had a great conversation. I wish we would have taped it. Yesterday was great.
Right.
Was it yesterday or the day before?
I
think yesterday.
Day before.
Man, the conversation was so good.
Right.
And if we did have a tape recorder going, that would have been the whole show, and we just would have been done. Because we got done, and I'm like, all right, that's the show. I hope you can just go ahead and repeat everything you just said exactly the way that you said it, because it was brilliant, man. Yeah. I'm just parting thoughts, just because we're struggling, right? Sometimes we're struggling to just figure out what is that next move. Like, do I really just get up and go back to work and that's it, and I just deal, or do I need to start pushing forward? Like, what's your kind of, if you want to give somebody something that's gonna get them moving towards their purpose and really going to change their life kind of thing.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm a firm believer in rewiring/reprogramming your brain.
How so?
When people come to me with questions, problems, issues, I will typically give them 3 phrases and tell them that they have to read those 3 phrases out loud every single day for a month. And the reason you do it for a month is 28 days will constitute a habit.
Right.
So if you can get past that first month, then that helps rewire your brain into thinking that you're okay.
What 3 things? What's the 3 things?
It really varies.
Kind of varies for each person.
It really does. But the main ones, I am okay. I am worth it. I am good enough. 3 simple phrases. Say them out loud every single morning for a month. And you're well on your way.
Could I throw it in front of a mirror?
Yeah.
That's the tough one.
Yeah.
In front of a mirror.
In front of a mirror would be wonderful.
Bring a box of tissues.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Again, I don't care how big you are, how macho, whatever, how tough. Bring a box of tissues if you're going to do that one. Because it is. I think for us, that is a hard one. And it does. It feels a little cheeseball at first, especially if you go in like feeling like, all right, I'm going to tell myself and pump myself up. It's going to come off cheeseball. But if you genuinely, at least in my experience, when I genuinely went in front of a mirror and I said, I love you, you, self, me, because that was a tough one for me for a long time, and I think it is for a lot of us.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us. You started the story with exactly where I think we all are. Is that we have it programmed that our job is literally just to get up, go work, and put bread on the table, and that's it, and go to bed and do it again tomorrow.
Yep.
And that's it. That's like our primal, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Programming that we got from from our parents. So so it's been tough, right? When you have to just do that and just do and not
grind.
think or feel about it.
Yep.
Yeah, you just got to grind. We don't take the time to really understand really how we're feeling and process some of that. So the first time you do it, I'm telling you, it's a trip. Take a box of tissues with you. That's all I can tell you. Thank you, man.
True statement, of course.
Appreciate you.
No problem.
I know this was a long one, so thank you so much for hanging in there. And I hope you enjoyed the content. Plan on bringing more interviews like this and others with guys from all walks of life, whether we've gone through struggle and still trying to figure it out, or maybe we've gone through struggle and made it. If you're one of those folks that is in either category or somewhere in between, would love to hear your thoughts. Go ahead and comment below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down here in the bottom right-hand corner. Hit the bell. That'll let you know when we upload a new video. And also, and this is really the important piece, if you're a guy that wants to share your story, if you want to let others know about, what has helped you get through life, what's helped you get through struggle, some of the things that you learned along the way, and you want to share that with other guys, part of just giving back and paying it forward, then feel free to contact me, sal@rebuildingme.us. sal@rebuildingme.us. I would love to hear from you. Set up an interview. Doesn't matter where you are. We could do it on FaceTime or Skype or whatever. So next week, one of my very good friends, also a drummer in Arizona. I don't know what it is with drummers. It's like a running, recurring theme, but that's okay. But next week on Rebuilding Me, one of my very good friends, Ross Neil Gillis, who has been one of my good friends for over 30 years. So hopefully you'll check it out. Come back next week, and we'll see you then. Take care.